So today, you guys, we've got our little watercolor kitten here, and we'll start with the drawing. So I like to hold the pencil nice and loosely and kind of move around in circular motions, um, just slowly establishing the shapes and keeping everything nice and loose. And this way, with the soft sort of scribble marks as you go, you don't have to do a lot of erasing, and just kind of gently put in each of your shapes here. Carefully looking also for the negative shapes in between, and try to match everything as closely as possible that way. So all of his head is a big sphere, and I try to keep the shape of the roundness by adding those little extra markings that give the direction of his eyes and which way his face is pointing. So he's looking a little bit down, so I have the other cross section pointed a little bit down there. And make sure you've got the ears not all the way on the top of his head, since he's looking down a little bit, they're coming at you. Another thing to be careful are the bends in the knees and the elbows. Make sure they are bending in the right direction so that the paws are coming out at you. So when you're putting the eyes in, watch how close they are to the nose and make sure you got enough space in between. And also be careful to look where the points happen on the sides. Ooh, I noticed I was a little bit too close on that eye. Need to move it up a little bit. And the points happen in the corners up slightly. They're not down low like they are on people. Still too far down. Get it right. Big enough. And I'm just going to add a little bit of the shading with the pencil as I'm getting these details fine-tuned. And then I will put in the really dark darks with my pen, and I'm using a micron pen, so make sure if you do this with ink that you are using waterproof ink so that when you go wash over this with water you don't bleed ink everywhere. And I kind of lightly, with some scratching motions, kind of add in those textures for some of the fur. So here it just helps to have all your darks mapped out for you, and they will stay in place. So there I've got some nice soft fuzzy edges going all around him, and all my darks are mapped out, and final adjustments are made before I come in to do the painting part. So I'm just going to go ahead and wet that whole area of fur and around his face, and I'm avoiding the eye area so that it doesn't bleed into his eyes. And then with French ultramarine and burnt sienna, I'm going to mix my own grays so that I can go back and forth between warmer and cooler grays, and I'm going to drop them in while it is wet. So that way I have all the soft fuzzy edges for me, and it gives a nice fur texture. And I just kind of build up the darks as I go, and if it dries, I just re-wet it. So I'm just gradually building up these darks and making sure the highlights stay where they need to be. And then I'll add in my eyes and make sure to give the shading around um, the eyes where they have shadows happening, because remember they are also spheres, so you don't want them to appear flat. So I'm breaking down the body into different chunks so that it doesn't all dry on me too quickly. And then I'm also trying to keep the brush strokes going in the direction of the fur too. And then, so he's not just floating in space, we'll add some little shadows here. Give it a shiny white countertop. And then I have a white charcoal pencil. I'll come in and just add some extra whiskers and final little details at the end. And that's it.